Okay, so obviously there's a truck behind me. We're going to talk about it. It's a 81,000 mile update. Okay, so yes, I've had the truck for a little over 3.5 years. Yes, it's a daily driver. I live on a dirt road. It's a black truck. It doesn't stay clean. It rained yesterday, so it's filthy. So what I've done so far is it's got a leveling kit on it. It has 33-inch tires instead of 31s that it originally came with. I have not really noticed any kind of drop in mileage like you do in most gas engine trucks. As far as visually, that's the only thing that's really been done to it. We're gonna pop the hood and show you a couple other little things that I've done. One of the things that goes wrong with these trucks is that the oil cooler is plumbed into the coolant system, and if that cooler goes bad, then you end up with engine coolant in your oil and oil in your engine coolant, either of which, if you know anything about engines, is bad. I haven't had any of those issues yet. I'm hoping to get an aftermarket oil cooler that separates the two, and I won't have to worry about that. If you swing over here, it still has the stock air box on it. I do have a K&N filter, one of the drop-in filters in there. I don't believe that the cold air intakes really give you that much more. Sure, they look cooler and they sound cooler. That's the most I believe you get from the intake system, the cold air intake system, is that it gets rid of all of the sound deadening and baffling and stuff like that. You're only going to get so much gain out of your filter. As far as sound, okay, so this piece back in here, it kind of ovals out. Even your cold air intakes, they're still going to oval out because they've got to get into that other piece back there that's back by the turbo. It has a baffle in it. I have pulled my baffle out, so now I can actually get a little bit of turbo sound in the cab of the truck. The program, or the ECM, is actually back in behind, right in there. You can see right back in there. That's the ECM that Green Diesel redoes. I have since done an update to my Green Diesel program. It is their off-road tune. That's how they have to market it. What that does is that deletes the entire DPF system. So from the turbo all the way back to the tailpipe, I've got nothing but straight pipe now. I'm not even running a muffler. Big 4-inch tip back there. What that does for me, what I'm getting out of it, is I'm not pumping none of that back into the motor, and I've actually got sound that comes out of the tailpipe now, where before there was like no sound that came out of these when they were stock. Alright, so we're going to have our assistant start the truck up so you can actually hear it. As you can see, there's actually sound that comes out of the tailpipe now where there used to be nothing. And all you get with a completely deleted DPF system is little puffs of white smoke. Never black. That's not what Green Diesel's about. Now, outside the truck, yeah, it's pretty loud, especially when you stand on it. But inside the truck, here we are. Here's startup. Yes, you definitely can hear it. That's what it's like when you're, just sitting there revving on it. But we're going to go for a little ride. And in normal driving, it's really not very loud. But there's actually sound that comes out of it now. And that's one of the things that I was really after, is I really wanted some sound to come out of it. I'm really happy with the way it sounds. Alright, so here we are pulling away from the corner, finally on some pavement. And under normal acceleration, It's not obscene. Yeah, you can hear it, but I really wanted to be able to hear it. I'm no longer pumping any of that crap back into the motor, so in theory, it should last longer. That's my main concern behind everything I've done, is I really want the engine to last longer. They do have some issues that have come up. I have experienced none of those in 81,720 miles. But, you know, they're all going to be different. Would I purchase this truck again? You're damn right I would purchase this truck again. Yeah, I love it. It's done everything that I've wanted it to do. And that's it. It's just done everything I wanted it to do. It gets great mileage when I'm not pulling. It gets pretty damn good mileage when I am pulling. You know, my camper is not real big. It's about 4,000 pounds when I'm loaded. I still get 15 miles to the gallon. No gas engine touches that. So those are the things that I've done to it. It rides nice. It looks good with the leveling kit and the larger tires. It sounds good. You no longer only have sound only coming from the front of the truck. You actually get something out of the tailpipe. Things that I would like to be able to do. I would love to be able to do the aftermarket oil cooler. The problem is they're expensive. The best one I've found is about $950. You know, so it's going to take time. Oh, the other thing that I've added to it is a aftermarket transmission pan, because when you have to service your transmission, the only pan that the factory offers is the piece of crap plastic pan with the built-in filter into the pan. And the very cheapest I found it for was like $200. So every time you service your transmission and change oil, you would have to buy a $200 plastic pan. I believe it's a PPIE, American-made aluminum pan, 2 more quarts of capacity, and a replaceable $30 filter. So I spent $350, I'm not sure what it was, on a pan I gotta buy once. Oil, I use Rotella T6. Filters, I was using, I believe it's called EcoGuard. I found it on Amazon because that was the only filter that I could find that wasn't the $40 and $50 Mopar filters. Since then, I have found that Wix, if you know anything about engines, you know Wix is a fantastic filter company. They've been making filters for, I have no idea, but they are some of the best filters on the market. Wix now makes filters. I've been buying a Wix filter. They are more pricey than the EcoGuards, but I know I'm getting a good filter when I buy a Wix filter. So those are the filters the fluid filters I've been buying. When we get home, we'll go in the garage. I'll show you the oil, the fuel additive that I use, not all the time, but occasionally, and anything else I can think of when we get there. Alright, so we're not home. I figured that if I didn't show what this was like getting on the highway and running down the expressway, that would be something that would come up in the comments. So we're gonna merge onto the expressway here in just a second. This is going around the corner and down the on-ramp. So we'll get it straightened out. I'll actually stand on it so you can see what it sounds like in the cab with a completely deleted exhaust. But we're already at 70. And there you go. 8th gear, 70 miles an hour. Pretty low wind. When you stand on it, you can hear just a little bit of turbo whistle now. That's what happened when I pulled that baffle out. But, here we are. We're 70 miles an hour. you hear more wind and tire noise than you hear exhaust noise. I'm not sure what my microphone's going to pick up. I guess we'll find out here in just a little bit. But there you go. Now you've seen what it's like running down the highway, and we'll pick this back up in the garage when I get home. Okay, so before we get into the garage, real quick, going back up's never bad, but every time I put this visor down, it always pops out of this. It didn't do that when it was new. That's one of the little quirks that has happened over the last 3.5 years. Nothing major, just one of those things that kind of annoys me when I use my visor. The other little quirk is outside. Okay, the other little quirk, yeah, these nice aluminum caps do not come with it. They were added. But putting fuel in, you can't put your nozzle in this truck straight on, especially with the big diesel nozzles. I have to actually angle the handle back like this for the pump to just continue without shutting off. Straight on, and I don't know if that's just my truck or if that's the way the nozzle and the hose that runs down to the tank is for all of them. Alright, so this is the oil I'm using. I've had fantastic luck with it. Rotella T6, it's a 540. This is the transmission fluid that I have started using. This is what I used when I did the 60,000 mile transmission service. This is what I use for my K&N filter that drops into the original air box. This is how I clean it, and I've had 0 issues with it. Biggest thing with any of these is make sure you don't over oil them. And this is the fuel additive that I use occasionally. This, I've also ran Stanidine and Seafoam. Seafoam is a great all-around. The clean diesel and the Stanidine, they are much more diesel specific. So there you have it. Truck's back in the driveway. She sits level out. Yeah, it's dirty, but it's a real truck. It gets used every day. I live on a dirt road. It is what it is. There's the wife's Prius, but we're not talking about that. So yeah, that's the truck. 81,000 miles. If there's anything that I didn't cover, if there's a question you have, shoot me a comment and I will try to respond. I will also try to have links to all of the products that I have used and like to use. If I don't like it, I won't put it down there. Thanks for watching. As always, we always say thank you to all of our men and women in all branches of service. Thank you so much for doing what you do, so the rest of us are free to do what we do.